Janine said you don't have to practice slowly.
No, wait,
just play really, really fast.
Hello everyone, I'm Paavo Järvi, the music director of Tonhalle Orchestra Zurich. Welcome to Tramp for Two, a series where I take my guests on a ride through Zurich.
Today we have an extremely special guest, Janine Jansen. Welcome.
Thank you.
Recently somebody sent me a video, a kind of a mini interview we did together in Paris when we played Mendelssohn. And we were talking about kind of rehearsing Mendelssohn, and I realized this already was such a long time ago, and you realize how quickly time passes, and we are still doing the same thing. We are still rehearsing and doing concerts and preparing and practicing and often even the same pieces. And do you think sometimes, how long am I going to do this? Or is there a kind of a point where you think I've had enough?
I don't think I will ever have enough of music, because I need music, I love music. But when you say, that was a long time ago that we had that interview, and we do the same. Well, do we do the same thing?
Well, not
because
the same
a lot
thing.
has changed also, and
Of course.
I think for me lots of things over the years have changed, and I think I'm maybe more aware or more picky of what I want to do, and I want to be also more time at home,
Right.
and have a bit more of this home life,
private,
and to be a little bit more how do you say, centered, or
I made a decision or a promise to myself that I am going to do less.
But you didn't, or you did? Are you?
Well, no, it didn't work. Somehow, and it's not because I'm trying to do more,
No, it's
but because I don't know how to organize this, and it's not a question of necessarily doing more or less, but you have these relationships over the years with different orchestras, different organizations, different people. You just can't say, I'm sorry, but I'm not.
You want to,
Yes.
but that's also love for music.
And I love it, but on the other hand, I look at the whole time span, and you realize that I've been doing kind of the same thing over 30 years. And then I look at my father.
How is he?
87 years old, and he still loves it.
Yeah.
And then there are some people who just say, I've had enough.
I don't know. I mean, I definitely went through these stages in life. Maybe Corona was a big one of it, but I've also had other stages in life where I felt you start questioning what you're doing. And then I also thought at some point I'm going to do less, and I did less. Then 5 years ago I started also to teach, which I really loved. And actually then suddenly life is so full again. And
Yes.
But why does it happen? It happens because it's out of passion, and you want to, this is what you breathe, and you kind of, also with the teaching, you want to pass on, and it's so nice to work with the young musicians, and so maybe the balance has changed a little bit for me, like maybe I play less concerts, but it has, the teaching has come in place of that. But then again, I also still wrestle a little bit with the question of, but I also want to have this time for myself, and not even only to practice or learn new things, but just to
Just to be.
Just to be.
Yeah, I know.
But that's actually
Exactly.
it. Yeah.
I can sort of hypothetically see a moment where I just teach.
Yeah.
But later, after 97.
But could you see that?
But at one point, I really love that process, especially when somebody else is like, you see, like, oh, I see.
Yeah.
But it's funny because we had a rehearsal today, and I'm standing right next to you, and it's the first rehearsal, and you're putting everything into. I mean, I see you just putting everything into it, and it is somehow. It's so impressive because you seem to never say for the concert.
I don't
You
know.
just go for it.
I could never do that. I have been told that.
But it is,
save, but I don't know, how do you save? Because, I mean, you make music, and also how can you do a rehearsal if you don't give what you're going to give? Because it affects many things. I mean, not only these things like the balance or the this or the that, but just the whole emotional and timing and this, and you cannot tell the same story. I mean, I'm not going to tell the story like I don't want to know, because that's how I'm saving, you know.
Clearly not, but
maybe
but it is so wonderful to see somebody so 100% into it, and on the rehearsal, and it is incredibly inspiring for other people in the orchestra, because I can see the eyes of the musicians, and they're like, you know, it's so infectious. You cannot sit there kind of like this if you see somebody putting everything into it, you know.
But that's also again then inspiring for me. It's like everybody, you know, and then
Yeah, of course.
But that's for me, that is the only way to create, and create you do at any moment. I'm not saying that I only practice like that, but I mean, even I find that quite interesting. We talk about that with the students also, like this kind of way of practicing slowly to learn things. That's, of course, it's important to learn the notes, but I think that practicing too slowly, it actually you lose a lot of time, and it won't get better, because it needs to always be first of all with a musical meaning, and and I think when one is too slow, you will never be able to make it better.
Slow practicing is something that people often advocate, and now you say don't practice slow.
No.
Janine said you don't have to practice slowly. Just play really fast. Doesn't matter how many long notes, and faster and louder.
No, I don't mean don't practice slow. Those runs like at half tempo, you know, it's like you have to do a gymnastic exercise in slow motion, and you will, you know, 30% under the tempo, or 20, or I don't know, but not 50 or 60, and da-da-dee-da-da, not like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, of course.
So I'm not against slow practicing.
No, we're gonna get comments. We're gonna get comments. Thank you, Janine, for joining us.
Happy to, thank you.
Don't forget to follow us. See you next time.